Hey everyone, this is Lady Alice coming in. We are doing Sunday crystals for our crystals of the day so that we are detoxing. And I had a thing that I can tell you about that I was not prepared for. So, because of that, I'll do it in the next segment. Okay, so we have Sunday that because Sunday I was feeling a little under the weather. So because I was feeling a little under the weather, I did not do Sunday edition. So we're gonna do Sunday crystals first, and then we're gonna get into Monday topic. So Sunday, blue Cal night for relaxation. Sunday, named for the sun, is traditionally a day of rest. Whether you're heading to the beach, enjoying a brunch, or having a BBQ, blue cell light is the crystal for Sunday. This is calming stone helps you relax and stay present, making the most of your restful moments. Let blue cell sight soothe your mind and body, preparing you for the week ahead. And I have to say that Sunday was very uneventful. There was nothing going against us the cycle, right? I was doing things, banging things out Saturday, so that Sunday I was able to, kind of detox for today. So that actually did work. So we're actually going to look at what uh, blue cell light is. So we're gonna do blue. See how to spell it first of all. CITE. CITE. Blue cellulite crystal meaning. Okay, so it's tranquility and peace. So it's like a sort of like a not a turquoise, but a light blue with dark shades of blue. So Cellulite is believed to be a stone of tranquility, peace, soothing frayed nerves, and promoting calm and relaxation. It has a powerful effect on the throat chakra, aiding in clear communication and authentic expression. Blue cell site can enhance intuition, support spiritual growth, and assist in physical healing. So, with physical healing and enhancing intuition is for your own discretion, right? We don't know what your intuition is. We don't know where it came from or how it's going to affect you and other people. So, for right now, we're having to make sure that your intuition is what's best for you before you can actually have intuition for somebody else. Um, With that being said, your own intuition can help prosper for other people. You know? So we also have uh, to stay present, right? To relax and stay present. And so staying present is the now. Like I keep talking about in my WordPress, time. Time is everything. Time is low key the most what we're going for. We lose youth, right? We use beauty as a term of time. We have a childhood into adulthood. That's losing time, right? So we're always assuming that we're going against time, but we're actually also given time due to certain circumstances, right? So we're given extra time on this homework assignment. We're given extra time to talk to somebody. We're given extra time to put forward your best foot forward, right? So that is giving time. Now, the thing about this is you're also being having to maintain time. Maintaining time is your way of having your own sort of self-worth, self-value, self. critiquing, self-criticism, right? So when you have this sort of renewal, right, of yourself, you're having to also think of, okay, so if I'm renewing myself, can I renew somebody else? Um, so with that moving forward, that it could be your own intuition. You know yourself. How are you going to use yourself to help out others, right? So you have to formulate a plan, right? You have to formulate a circumstance in which can help best benefit you without being vain or arrogant, right? You don't want to be vain or arrogant. You want to make sure that you have an equal level without going too much over and too much under. Um, you also have authentic, clear communication and authentic expression. So, clear communication is if you listen to somebody, right? And we're going to go into the next segment, but it will make a little bit more sense. But clear communication is key. So we believe lies, we believe propaganda, right? We believe disinformation. We also believe that sometimes certain people's expectations are just that. It's high expectations that actually is not going to correlate to what you're doing, right? So with that being said, when I tell you something and then you don't remember or you don't take it well because you want to have selective hearing or you want to believe that your right is right, your way is right, and not just that, not just because your way is right or wrong, it actually has to do with a formula that has been given. And if you can't follow the formula, then you yourself are screwed because you're going based off something that is always forever changing. Time is forever changing. The government and community is forever changing. So if you don't like change and you just want to go based off what you say yourself, it's not going to work out for you because the fact is you're going against the curriculum. You're going against something that has been deemed the norm. And when you try to think outside the box, you're going to come up against something that is going to be not impossible, but near to impossible, right? When you communicate with somebody, make it make sense, make it be important, make it make where the person wants to listen to you. If you keep going one ear and out the other, then that person's gonna just be talking to a wall, right? So that's part of clear communication. Also, another term of clear communication is what your understanding is and how are you going to relay it to somebody else, right? So if you're given a foundation, right? You're given an opportunity. How are you going to communicate within that opportunity, right? So clear communication can be several things. Um, when you are communicating, you're not just speaking, your actions also are a part of communication. When you have a dilemma, right? Your facial expression, the way you carry your body, right? The way you're going to associate with somebody else is a form of communication, right? We're not just talking one on one, we're talking worldwide, right? You carry yourself with a certain level of pride, you carry yourself with a certain amount of dignity, right? So you also carry yourself with a certain amount of respect as well. And it's going to be hard if you don't respect yourself and you're coming in with a snarky attitude already off the bat, or you're assuming, or you're already over exceeding whatever that is, to come in and say, okay, well, I don't understand why you have to do this or you have to do that. Well, I have to do this and that because the fact is, if you're not going to be saying this, that, and the other, then I'm not going to be doing this, that, and the other, right? So you have to be on the same wavelength, but also at the same time, if you're getting fed information and then you're having to correlate that information to somebody else, then they're going to be like, okay, then why didn't they say this or that? Well, why didn't you do it yourself, right? While one may be appropriate, you have to also be able to read the room. Yes, I'm high functioning, but also I need help. But I'm also being uh, combative in a sense because I'm only getting a certain amount of resources. And if you're not able to get that resource, then I'm going to be up a creek without a paddle because I'm going against the creek itself. So if you're coming at me saying, okay, well, I told you to do this, and I told you, okay, I did do that, and the outcome is the same, then don't expect it to correlate to what you want, and then don't come and blame me for not working out, right? So you have to, that is clear communication. Also, clear communication is the information you're given, right? If you don't like the information that you're given, yes, you may not be able to change that outcome because the communication is do what I say. That's just the formula of what that is, right? So we also have authentic expression. Authentic expression is how I present myself to you. Am I my true self or am I going to give you business self? So there's two different things. There's personal expression, self-expression, and then there's also business expression. Is that business expression going to sort of spill over into your personal expression? So if you're going to give someone the benefit of the doubt, you're going to give an expression, right? And is that what you think? Is that how you feel? Or is that just how you believe they're going to react, right? So are you already anticipating the outcome with it not being that outcome already, right? So with that being said, we also have spiritual healing, right? So we have blue skylight can enhance intuition, support spiritual growth, and assist in physical healing. We all need physical healing. We all need to enhance intuition and support spiritual growth. So while your intuition is telling you one thing, you might think, oh, this is bad thing, this is bad thing, right? Sometimes people have a weak institution. Like, if you're sick all the time, if you were born sick, right? That is a weak institution. You're born with a trait or you're born with some type of, sorry about that. I just had a day today. Um, but if you're born with a weak mindset, a weak self-control, a weak inner peace, right? Or self-esteem, you already are coming up with something that is like a race, right? You having somebody who has the same path as you, but if you keep throwing stuff in front of it, then you're going to be saying, okay, well, my stuff is having so many obstacles, and then you wonder why the other person had it easy because they just had a straight line, and the straight line is his easiest form to correlate, right? So how that is going to function is, are you going to throw more obstacles in my way? Or are you going to try to take away some obstacles, right? Because the same outcome is going to be the same. How you get there is going to be different. So you have experiences that are the obstacles, but if you keep adding more obstacles to those that are already within your path, that's not going to be a clear straight line. It's going to be zigzag. And when you zigzag, you're going to take more effort to get to the goal finishing end result, just so that you can have somebody say, well, I got here in 10 minutes. Why did it take you 2 hours? Right? And you go in the same pace. While not only going the same pace, you're also going the same distance, right? So overexertion is also a good way of thinking of what institution is. Spiritual growth is like if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in Buddhism, you believe in God, you believe in uh, because Mormon, right? There's so many different belief systems out there. So you believe in spiritual animals, you believe in your zodiac sign, you believe in your crystal gazing, right? You believe in something. There is always going to be somebody who's always going to take you down and always say they're right and you're wrong, right? There's always going to be somebody that way. There's always also going to be um, someone always going to try to put their cents in without you actually having to tell them to do that, because they just bring it upon themselves to actually spot stuff that A, it's not going to make sense, and two, they can't read the room. So if you're going to say something, you have to be able to match your energy with the energy within the room, right? You're going to have to match your energy with the person in the room. So your spiritual sense is your inner peace, your third eye, your like the God, the deity, whatever, right? That is your that is your spiritual sense. You are a being of a higher power, but how you use your vessel is something completely different. That's going to be on you. Now, if you say or do something that goes against that nature, yeah, you're gonna have to get tested, because the fact is you're assuming that it's going to go one way, and when it doesn't go that one way, then you have questions, and you have to, bring into a certain sort of, you have to ground yourself. Not only you have to ground yourself, you have to take a step back and focus on what went wrong, how you can fix yourself. Yes, I'm not perfect either. I let things slip all the time that I feel like I have had a deep grasp on it. But it turns out I didn't have a deep grasp. My understanding was one thing, and then the intuition turns into something spiritual, where I say, okay, I see that you are helping, right? So I'm going to lend my hand. But not just that, you also have to meet me halfway. I can't just keep trying and trying and trying and trying. And if there's very limited to no outcomes outside of plan B, then plan C is going to affect plan B, who is going to conflict with plan A, right? So my spiritual energy is saying, okay, yesterday was super calm, so there's no problem, right? Yesterday was rest day. I had a good rest, but also I was going through some some physical problems being a woman. So with that being said, there's not much one can do while having these womanly problems. So I just rested the day, and I was just getting ready for today. So with that, we can also state that you have physical healing. Now, physical healing is something a little more harder or challenging to do. Physical healing also comes from the mind. The mind will have to cope with how you process your stuff. How are you going to think about something logically, where your logic is coming in for yourself, right? So you have a logic, a logic that's going to hinder your physical ability to be at inner peace. Then we're gonna have to figure out how to find your inner peace back. You're gonna have to physically bend your mindset to alter it, to make sure that your healing in of itself is your best reasoning, right? You're trying to figure out how you are going to, if you aspire to be somebody, what are your goals? How are you going to physically heal yourself to get to where that is? If you're having a trying day, right? Your physical healing is how you're going to cope with the information you've gone through that day. What is your way or your mechanism of understanding so that you can go about your day, right? That's physical healing, or my interpretation of it, right? It's also used for meditation and chakra balancing. So, okay, so meditation is, there's different ways to meditate. The actual term to meditate is to close your eyes and try to find inner peace. That's what it means. Now, that is the definition of what that is. The term itself is completely different. How you formulate a mindful set, like as of today, what is my way of meditating? My way of meditating is writing about it, right? That's how I meditate. Somebody can think on a mat or do the crystals, right? So we are talking about blue calcine, right? And you can rub that baby on Sunday and say, hey, look, Monday's gonna be better, right? You're gonna have the salt water, you're gonna have to check yourself out. We don't want to crash, but we also want to make sure that we are maintaining a physical presence with your crystals because like you're in the presence of God or your presence of Buddha, right? You're in presence of a yokai or whatever you're trying to talk about, right? Or try to believe in. You want to have as much of a clear conscience and a clear mind as you possibly can, right? So since Sunday is rest day, you take something relaxing and you try to manifest it within that activity, right? So if you walk along the beach, that is you doing a calming thing for that Sunday, right? But I also can bring in meditation. It can bring physical healing, not only because you're walking, but it's giving you a peaceful mindset, right? You're taking a look at the sunset. You're walking maybe with your significant other, holding hands or something. You might be planning your dinner lunch, your dinner rush, right? If you're at a restaurant, you might want to go out on a little mini date or something. Who knows, right? But you have this way of actually making sure that you're physically healing throughout the day, right? So we have it also, additionally, it helps with accepting new situations, releasing old patterns and providing or promoting clarity and balance, right? So, like I was saying, this a blue calcite decodes connects to the third eye chakra. So, like I was saying before, whatever deity or whatever you're expecting yourself to be doing or going through, this is the stone for you because you are trying to make sure that your chi, your chakra, whatever, right, is balanced and it has to balance with your third eye. Now, your third eye comes in many different forms. You can see your aspirations, you can think about your aspirations, but whatever it is, it's going to deduce and declutter things that should never have been into the center to begin with, right? So that being Sunday, right? Because I don't think there's going to be any more toward that. Yeah. So so calcite is for relaxation, and we talked about what that crystal is and what that means. So we're soothing the nerves. Soothing the nerves is being tranquil and at peace, and how you become peaceful within yourself is going to be completely different for that somebody who believes that peace comes from its opposite effect. So if you believe in drinking tea, sitting down with a good book, somebody else might be thinking, oh, I'm going to play the cello, or I'm going to play a computer game, or I'm going to write a book or something, right? And with that being said, we're trying to figure out the most with getting with the least, right? So what I mean by that is if you have a problem, you're getting the most out of your circumstances, right? So if you're getting a certain thing that is the least that you can do for of getting the most, right? That's this window. There. So if you're getting the most out of the least that you're getting, is that going to be healing for you? Is that going to give you prosperity? Is that going to give you clarity? Is that going to give you physical healing, right? Is it going to give you a stronger institution? So just look at those types of how you formulate and how you think about that, right? So everyone is different. Everyone's not going to be the same. You just have to look for the best. Sorry, got cat hair in my mouth. Your best form of healing for yourself. Um, so with that being said, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always hit me up on any type of social media. I'll be putting more videos out here like this. Let me know if it's good. If you want to help me get a silver play button, like and subscribe. And I hope to talk to you soon. Maybe next week I'm going to be doing the month of March, since this month is going to be basically over next week. So I'll probably do a double on Sunday, where it's going to be a detox of Sunday again. And we're going to do a detoxing for March. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. If you want to be interviewed again, you can always hit me up on my socials. And yeah, so take care. Have a happy Sunday. Have a happy rest day. God be with you. Buddha be with you. Any religion, your third eye, your left ear. You have 3 ears. I mean, maybe I need one on the top of my head to figure out who's actually thinking what. It might actually help me. So I look forward to hearing from you guys certainly soon, right? I've done a few of these now, and I'm hoping you guys are actually listening and hearing what I'm saying. And if you like it, just let me know. I know right now TikTok is blowing up with what the elections are, what we're actually having to have our bet, and now, for those who are voted for him in office are now having to fit their own bill and shit and stuff like that. So with that is the end of my Sunday rant. Now, Monday, uh today's Monday. So we talked about Sunday. Today is Monday. I've had a trying day. I was talking to somebody and I didn't feel like I was being heard because I'm between a rock and a hard place. I'm going based off of what the government tells me, not only that, but of my physical limitations. And so while having a physical limitation, it also cuts my job searching in half or three quarters at least because of my balance that I don't have. So I can't just walk in and say, oh, I'm going to get a job. Nowadays, you have to know somebody in order to even get that job. And right now, since everything's getting cut, I'm not sure how much more I'm going to actually be able to depend on permanent disability or something, since I only have one source of income to actually begin with. So, with that being said, how am I going to be able to keep up with my payments and stuff like that? I keep falling in the negatives because I'm only one person, and every time I ask somebody for help, they just say, "Oh, go to this resource or go to that resource." But then when I do go to those resources, they're like, "Oh, well, you don't qualify for this. Oh, you don't qualify for that. Oh, you may qualify for a little bit of amount because you have already having a permanent source of income already." So that hurts a lot because there's three things already going wrong. We have a government telling people how to live their life. We're also having someone that can't actually do that many jobs. And we're also having businesses actually saying we don't hire because either A, we don't have enough room, or we have enough room and we already have the people there that we want or need, something like that, right? So when I was talking to this person, I keep reiterating what I'm going up against. It's not just because I'm sprouting out my butt, it's not just through experience and also through what I've been hearing and what has been told to me. So I'm paying a bill, but because I'm paying a freaking bill, they're insisting like, oh, we received it, and then like 5 seconds later, oh, we did not receive it. So that is confusing, and it's also very unprofessional because the person is relying on you to give them proper information. So I'm not sure what is and what isn't, but I can tell you this, that I am, you know, not at my wits' end, but I am sort of again debating about who to trust now because I've been told one thing and it goes to something else, but it's always everything's in the freaking middle, right? So, having said that, I'm also making sure that I am trying, I am responsible, but because I don't have a second source of income, right? That was what I was depending on or relying on. And yes, it was my fault that I let it slip through my mind that I didn't have that source of income anymore. But how am I supposed to keep up with everything that's changing, or even still having this the source or the outcome for somebody who doesn't know how to get an extra source of income, right? So they're going based off me, and I'm going based off what the government is telling me, right? So I'm not entirely sure how my way of thinking is going to make it the situation any less better or worse, right? Yes, I'm not a genius. And yes, I do take some criticism very harshly, but I also am coming from a place where most of my life I've been told what to do, how to do, where to sit. So if you're actually able to tell me as a case manager, most case managers are not freaking physically disabled. They can walk in, they put the resume in, and there's no problem because they don't have that many obstacles physically. Not because I'm physically, disabled, or you could call it handicapped, right? I'm having more limitations, not just because of that, but also because I'm a black woman, right? So if we're going rule based on fear, those are the three things that will thrive with someone who's like a Karen or a Ken, right? In any sort of outlet or circumstances. So I can shout myself until I'm blue in the freaking face, but if you're not going to want to listen to what I have to say, then I'm just not gonna trust you because you're not taking it seriously. Um, and I'm hoping that is wrong, but that is just my assumption, my allegations, my whatever, because that's just what I'm experiencing. So, with that being said, I can go to Monday's crystal. Monday's crystal. So, with Monday, so Monday is Monday's moon day, right? Because it's been the planet of the moon. Planet is not really the moon is not really a planet, right? Just like the North Star is a star, but we can get into that later. The colors are silver, white, and gray. Metal, silver crystals are moonstone, pearl, aquamarine, and sienite. So we can go off the moonstone, and the moonstone, so like a werewolf or something, Talk about moonstones. Moonstone is emotional calm, new beginnings, cycles, truth, talent, memory, travel, and intuition. Again, with intuition and the truth and the new beginnings. Right. So Moonstone is a stone of new beginnings, and as its name suggests, it is strongly connected to the moon and also its intuition. Where it reminds us that everything is a part of a cycle of change in the same way that the moon waxes and wanes and encourages us to pay attention to the cycle of our lives. Moonstones help to cool and soothe emotions as well as calm over reactions to emotional and personal situations. Okay, so because I'm calm now, I guess it's because of the moon, right? Since I've had a trying day, I just had a realization, and my realization has calmed me down. So I'm an emotional calm, and this is the cycle of truth that I've been given, right? And it's a cause of new beginning. So while I have talent, I also have memory of remembering exactly what I've said and what I've done. not only that, I'm paying attention to myself and the time that I need to take in order to take something in, or being able to uh I'm able to retain um and use that in my moving forward. Moonstone helps to cool and soothe emotions as well as calm overreactions to emotional and personal situations, and encourages intuitiveness and, and perception. Moonstone enhances the feminine nature and also balances male female energies. It also soothes instability and stress. Okay, so from what I just stated, I can instantly see that my feminine nature, I guess, has been enhanced because the male version of myself, or just basically society in general, has always irked me enough and made me, you know, feel like I'm gonna have to break the freaking wall down, the third wall, because there's so much stress and instability with what we're going through today, right? So how am I going to fix something that I cannot control, but also I cannot control also is how I'm supposed to live. So it's like my livelihood, right? And so if it's always being questioned, I'm paying attention to what it is, but how am I going to change it if the fact is that the people that I'm relying on to try to change it can't actually change it because they're very stupid in the sense that they have no idea what they're doing, what they're talking about, and now they're having to reap what they actually have sown, right? So, with that being said, am I going to balance out my sort of theory, my sort of attributes on yes, I'm smart, but the fact still remains is that yes, I'm physically disabled, so there's really not going to be a lot that I can do. Also, at the same time, if our least resources being limited, how is that limitation going to affect my smartness? Because I'm relying on other people to help me sort out myself, and not just myself. I'm also trying to do re- outsource my um, how I get my knowledge. Right, I'm trying to see if I can get resources and outlets and stuff like that based off somebody that is getting it directly from the horse's mouth or the horse's hoof, right? And if they don't know what they're doing, then I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be faring any better. So, let's see. Has a powerful effect on the female reproductive cycle and elevates menstrual tension linked to the pineal gland. The pineal gland, it balances the hormonal system and stabilizes fluid imbalances, and in cases of shock, and likewise for calming hyperactive children. I don't know about hyperactive children. I mean, it's also depending on nature versus nurture and that debate on what comes first, the chicken or the egg. But I'm also stating that the women imbalance, hormonal balances also comes with a freaking hefty price because we're also uh, giving um, we're giving ourselves we're not giving ourselves anything. We're born with, tubes to give birth to. So technically you're not going to be able to stop that cycle unless you want to get cancer. So you can actually stop yourself from getting a period, but for women, but then you're going to get sick and you can die from overall cancer. Also, basically, if you're having heavy period flow, that means you have a chemical imbalance because your hormones are off balance, meaning that you have a lot more testosterone than you have of estrogen. And so the estrogen is trying to overcompensate by having you have a heavy flow. Now, if you have a lighter flow, that means you have more estrogen, um, that is keeping the testosterone a little bit more at bay, but still with the sense that that if you're having more facial hair or you're having more of a fatigue, right? Your energies have to be soothed, right? So there's probably an chemical imbalance with the way you think, right? So if you're having a mental stress or mental breakdown, that also is going to have an effect on your fluid imbalances too, because your hormonal issues also probably come and stem from the way you think, right? So a lot of us need to actually be able to figure out your emotional damages, right? So moonstone assists in this eliminates uh, a productive system, right? Ugh, that sentence was so choppy and so hard. Digestive. So moonstone assists in digestive, elimination, and reproductive system, which is what I was talking about, the menstrual cycle, blah blah blah, giving birth, right? Having kids. And I have talked to several women that have wished that they have not had kids. And I've talked to people that love having kids, right? So, yes, we need kids to keep the economy and the cycle going, right? But at the same time, the people that wish that they did not have kids, because it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of work. You have a freaking human being that's going to leech off of you until at least 18, if not longer, right? You birthed them into the world. So you gave yourself an excuse, right? And that's why I don't like women trying to show off. I'm pregnant, me, me, right? But then when it comes to actually having the child, they're like, oh my God, it's so much work. You have to wake up in the middle of the night. Yeah, your cycle is going to change because the fact is your baby had a whole different cycle, right? So I've talked to people who are in the workforce that says, they when they get home, they want to rest and not have to deal with mom, 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 right? All the freaking time. And each stage is going to take huge chunk out of you. So yes, I can see why, people want to drink just to escape their reality because, they put themselves into that situation. But also at the same time, some women have not did not choose to be parents, but have to keep the child or don't have an alternative to actually not keep the child because of the way our society works is you have children, you keep them and you have a certain sort of criteria. The stigma is that women are great parents, not all the time, but also at the same time, you also have this stimulation of, oh, well, that child is going to fulfill your every want and need and desire. You should not pin that on your child. If you want to come home and rest and be by yourself because you're independent, but you have children in the way, yes, that's going to put a lot of strain on a lot of things, right? You want to go out, you want to party, you want to have fun, but technically you can't do all that because the fact is you have maybe 4 or 5 mouths to feed, which is going to A, strain your budget, and two, it's going to also make you think, well, why did I have so many kids? Because the government isn't always going to take care of you. So how are you going to take care of you so you can take care of your kids, right? There also are some negligent parents that believe that yes, I will have this child, but I'm going to use it to my own benefit, to my own gain, while others are saying, I don't really give a flying crap about my kid, and I barely take care of them as it is. So, whoop, 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 and ba, 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 and da, 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 right? So it's going to be up to you on how to figure out what's your best course of action for Monday and how to use your moonstone. Because when you come home, yes, you might not want to talk to your husband, right? You might not want to talk to your kids, but they're going to be there. I mean, your husband can easily walk away, which happens to be a lot now. Um, but it's also at the same time, your kids are going to be able to walk away, depending on their age, right? So if they're minors, yeah, they're going to have to depend on you until they're 18 at least, right? Some cultures believe that when you're 15, you're an adult, right? Quinceañeras, right? You're 15, you're adult in their eyes, right? But you shouldn't always believe that because certain laws stipulate that 15 is still a minor, right? So kids having kids, right? You see your parents had you basically at the age of 10, and some kids at age of 10 actually do have kids, so you already have a sort of mentality that they're going to grow up faster. I was forced to grow up faster than what I necessarily have to have, right? Because that was just what my circumstances were. However, that being said, um, now I've come up to combat about, okay, because I've grown up so fast, I don't actually have certain, knowledge about a lot of things. Like, there are certain people that have certain experiences where I won't have because I had to grow up believing that, A, if I was worth it, but also two, that I was fighting the system that not everybody was going to be able to let me know how to fight the system, right? So I was already trying to figure out plans, um, and try to formulate plans because I was told that I was one thing when I truly wasn't. But was it propaganda? Was it, their own agenda? Was it a little bit of both? Probably a little bit of both, right? So, with that being said, let's finish this out. Um, so, okay, so we can say it enhances and the assimilation of nutrients and assists in the elimination of toxins and fluid retention. It elevates this degenerative conditions of skin, hair, eyes, and flesh and fleshy organs, like the liver and the pancreas. An excellent, an excellent for PMS, conception, pregnancy, and childbirth. Useful to the treatment of circular circulatory disorder, water-related imbalances like swelling and insect stings and bites. So what I can tell you is like if your skin, hair, nails, gut, right? So basically the guts, uh, with you can take biotin as well, but if you're trying to regulate the hair, skin, nails, and fleshy stuff, right? You're going to have to figure out how best to do that. Yes, water is a great outlet, right, for flushing out toxins. Um, but if you have, I guess, a moonstone underneath the moon, then, you know, are you going to use that to its full potential, to its full advantage? Um, we also can take a look at oh, one more. Um, so let's do, uh, we can do, well, aquamarine is March, and we've done cellulite. So we can actually do uh, pearl, right? Let's figure out pearl. Do pearl crystal. Okay, so the meaning of a pearl crystal is that pearls have been known to be a symbol of purity, innocence, and faith. In ancient times, they were thought to be the tears of gods, while pearls differ from other crystals as they are not true minerals. They are still considered by many to have similar metaphysical powers to other previous stones. This post will basically, we'll be talking about the cultured pearl and many uses. You can meditate with the stone and more. Pearl, meaning the crystal pearl, is said to be a symbol of purity, innocence, and faith. It is also said to have metaphysical pro- blah blah prosperities that can help to boost the immune system, protect against negative energies, and promote spiritual growth. Right. So it's also about fertility and giving birth. Right. So a lot of these um, sort of crystals are again about healing, about nurturing, about trying to be the best you, trying to be figuring out best to right yourself. A lot of women do want to get pregnant, but some problem getting pregnant with fertility issues that they can't get pregnant for whatever reason, right? If you have a lot of miscarriages, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get pregnant. If you're taking birth control pills, right? You're going to have a hard time probably getting pregnant within that cycle. So there's a lot of ways you can think about pearls as well. They also say it's the sea's tears, right? You have um, many different ways of thinking of pearls to be, uh, while it is purity, there's also sort of a myth about pearls, right? That there's mermaid tears and stuff like that. And it's not where everything else is because it's not technically, you don't you dig up pearls in the sea. You don't go to like a cave and you try to figure out where a pearl is rather than an emerald or a diamond. There are diamond mines, there are emerald mines, there are ruby mines, right? But you're not going to find a pearl mine unless you go to a sea cave and you try to dig them up underneath the water because pearls are actually in salt water, right? They're created through sand, time, and by that, it's also by what the earth is going to present itself. So you have, you know, the ebb and flow of the crystal, which means by the moon, right? You have high tide, you have low tide, right? So unless the sand formulates over the pearl or over the oyster or however the pearl is going to be used, right? It's not an actual crystal because it's not coming from an actual material. It's formulated through um, how one is going to be able to find it, right? And so find it is a lot more harder than an actual other sort of entities of crystals, right? So it's technically not a crystal. It's not even a gem. It's a product that sometimes man has deemed one way or the other. That being said, I hope your Monday continues to prosper and continues to emulate what you want it to. I hope you have a great detoxing, and I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Let's get that silver play button um, in the house by liking, subscribing, commenting. You can also find me on my socials. And for those, you can text me directly if you want to be interviewed about if what I'm saying is correct or incorrect. It's just based on all my opinions. You guys can come to your own conclusions or whatever. But also at the same time, I am trying my very best to figure out how best I can beat the system while the system's not really made for me. And we also don't understand what democracy is, or actually being able to figure, well, if it's not going to affect me, right, it could affect somebody else. With that mentality in and of itself is why we're all screwed, right? I don't know how much more longer is we're going to be screwed, But I know for certain that as of right now, as of this video, there's going to be a lot of worry because I have a lot to worry about, and it's actually coming from an actual place to worry about, right? So it's not me making anything up. It's basically based on circumstances that I cannot control. But while I can control the certain things that I can control, I'm going to make sure to control them to the best of my ability. Now, I am going to come up and can be up against certain norms of society where somebody can walk in and get the job, right? Rather than actually having to do a lot more for a lot less. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And I'm going back to my homework. And I'm going to be meditating for probably the rest of the night. Just to detox from today, because again, I'm trying to not just give insight, but I'm also trying to gain knowledge on not just how I can fix my situation, but also trying to figure out how best this situation is going to help me, right? Because I can only help myself so much, but at the same time, I can only do so much to help myself. So, again, I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Take care and have a happy Monday. Bye.